There are people who spend their entire lives chasing things that shine, but never really light anything within. Bigger houses, higher positions, more expensive clothes. Sure, all of that has its place, but none of it speaks to the soul. And that's where Jesus comes in. While the world tries to convince you that success is about accumulation, he reminds you that true peace isn't bought. It's found, and only in his presence. And you know what's curious? Most people only realize this when they've lost everything they thought was essential. Have you ever seen someone who seemed to have it all, but still lived in anxiety? That's because they were missing what money can't reach: the presence of God. There are people with fame, numbers, status, but no peace. Now, try talking to someone with a deep relationship with Jesus. Even without luxury, peace radiates from their eyes. It's like that one friend we all have, who doesn't own much, but always wears a smile that doesn't make sense. That's living with purpose. That's living with Jesus. And when life places us at a crossroads, with worldly success on one side and Jesus on the other, the choice should be obvious, but it often isn't. The world screams loudly, offering quick recognition, instant validation. But anyone who's chosen Jesus knows the quiet of a soul at peace is worth more than any applause. And here's the interesting part. It's in those moments of decision that the soul begins preparing to see what truly matters. When everything's going well, it's easy to say you trust God, but it's in the valley, when the ground disappears and tomorrow feels like a blur, that faith proves if it's rooted or just a surface coat. It's in those moments that the presence of Jesus makes all the difference. While the world walks away when you've got nothing left to offer, he draws nearer. He doesn't care about status or appearance. He moves out of love. And real love doesn't abandon. Real love stays. Have you noticed how people vanish when the money's gone or the diagnosis hits? But Jesus, Jesus stays. He stays when no one else can bear to hear your pain anymore. When strength leaves and the future terrifies you. That's when he holds on tightly and whispers promises like Hebrews 13 verse 5. I will never leave you nor forsake you. That's not just poetry. That's survival. It's the kind of promise that lets you sleep in the middle of chaos. That kind of peace can't be explained. It has to be lived. And if today, everything you've built fell apart, would you still feel rich? That's a provocative question, but a necessary one. Because anyone who has Jesus carries a type of wealth that time can't destroy. A peace that doesn't depend on circumstances. A joy that survives grief. And when that truth sinks in, a new kind of courage begins to grow. One that prepares the heart for something even deeper, even more transformational. Sometimes you just need to let go. Let go of control, of tidy answers, of plans that didn't work out. Because honestly, there are days when even you don't know what you want. That's when prayer becomes more than rehearsed words. It becomes refuge. Jesus doesn't expect a fancy speech. He wants a sincere heart. A quiet, help me, already shakes heaven. Because God doesn't respond to performance. He responds to surrender. And when the mind becomes a battlefield, it's the presence of the Holy Spirit that restores clarity. Some people wake up anxious, go to bed afraid, and live in an emotional exhaustion no one sees. But when you invite Jesus into your routine, even silence changes tone. You start hearing that gentle voice saying, "This is the way. Walk in it." Want a practical example? Try starting your day with 5 minutes of prayer before you touch your phone. It's simple, but it changes everything. Sometimes healing doesn't come all at once. It comes in the process. It comes while you walk, even when you don't understand it all. And that's when faith matures. When you surrender not just the good parts, but the broken ones too. God transforms it all. Like Romans 8 verse 28 says, all things work together. And deep down, it's in that place of surrender that the soul finds rest. A rest that opens the eyes to see life in a whole new way. Have you ever noticed how the world constantly tries to convince you that success means more? More money, more status, more followers, more spotlight. But what if I told you that all this more could actually leave you empty? What if everything that shines out there only darkens what's within? Listen closely. There's a kind of wealth that can't be measured by numbers and can't be replaced by applause. And no, this isn't religious talk. This is real life. There are humble people who barely have enough to eat, but carry a light in their eyes no CEO can fake. You want to know their secret? They have Jesus. Because when your soul finds rest in the presence of God, even chaos becomes a classroom. Even silence becomes an answer. What you're about to hear isn't just a morning prayer. It's a reconnection with what really matters. And if you have the courage to listen all the way through, you might discover something that changes more than just your day. It could change your entire life. Don't say no one warned you. Now tell me, after all this, what will you choose to value most? Will you keep betting on what the world praises today and forgets tomorrow? Or will you start building your life on something that time, loss, and fear can't erase? The presence of Jesus isn't just inspiration, it's a daily decision. And maybe what you're missing isn't more strength, but more surrender. So how will you apply this to your life? Will you take time to pray, to listen for God's voice? Will you start your day chasing peace instead of pressure? Or will you once again let the chaos drown what truly matters? Comment below. What part spoke to your heart today? I want to know. And if this message moved you, if it made sense to your soul, if it reminded you where your real treasure lies, then subscribe to this channel, turn on notifications, and stay with us. There's still so much more to learn and to live.